And so excited to be with you here today. And boy, oh boy, we got a great show lined up for you today. All right, so I'm looking at my other screen. Bear with me, guys. All right, excellent. So we are now live on Instagram as well. And so again, hello and welcome everyone. Welcome to Live with Lesli. And I'm Lesli Bitel, business strategist and mentor specifically for health and wellness entrepreneurs who want to attract more clients, sell more programs, and ultimately grow a profitable practice with multiple streams of income. That is my jam. All right. So today I'm super excited to be talking with Dr. Lexi Watson and really looking forward to this conversation. It is super fascinating and I can't wait to learn more myself. Lexi is from OAKLEY Wellness and she's going to be sharing more about mastering brain health with her very own OAKLEY Method. So today you're going to learn how Lexi is helping her own clients conquer brain fog and fatigue through her step-by-step cellular healing protocol. So welcome, Lexi. I'm so delighted to have you here today.
Thank you for having me on, Lesli. Always a pleasure to be on and to get to talk with you more. Happy to and excited to share all my information today.
Yeah, such a good topic. So, all right, well, why don't we kick things off just for those people in our audience that don't know you. We've got a lot of new folks joining our lives. So give us a little bit of your, basically your story. How did you end up? You're a pharmacist.
Yes.
So I want to hear how this all culminated for you and how you became interested in this brain health and in private practice. So give us the lay of the land.
Absolutely. So I always knew that I wanted to go into the helping fields of some kind. And I was one of those oddballs in high school who actually really enjoyed chemistry class.
Oh.
And so that's what prompted me to go the pharmacy route. But ever since I was 14, I've been diagnosed with ADHD. I've struggled with that ever since then. And well, really before that, before diagnosis. But the ADHD, the brain fog that came with that, the fatigue. Plus, I have a very strong family history of Alzheimer's. Like my grandmother passed away from it. Her mom passed away from it. I don't actually know beyond that, but I can only imagine. And so the brain has kind of always been near and dear to my heart. And so going through pharmacy school, learning great information about the medications and how the body works. And I was like, this can't be all there is. And so I started diving into, honestly, compounding pharmacy. I was like, there has to be some more personalized something out there. And I shadowed a compounding pharmacist, and he introduced me to the world of functional medicine. And so that is where things really just took off. So I was like, this is it. This is great. People are coming off of medicine. They're, reversing disease. This is incredible. Like, this is the answer. And so I pursued a certification in functional medicine and got that the year after I graduated from pharmacy school, and then started practicing from there. But before that, as I was learning, I'm so sorry if you can hear.
All right. It just reminded me to turn mine off too.
It's on my computer. I don't know how to turn those off. My phone is muted anyway. But so with the functional medicine, and as I was learning, I was experimenting on myself, and I was like, oh my gosh, this stuff really works. Like, I'm not just hearing it from people, I'm experiencing it myself. And I was able to come completely off of my ADHD medicine. I've been off of it 5 years now, something like that. Yeah, so completely managed holistically. And then, so tying all of, my personal experience and my training together, that's just kind of where my passion for the brain met my training. And I was like, I've got to help other people like me, and like my mom. I'm working very closely with my mom to prevent the Alzheimer's
Mm.
route. And so we're working really hard on creating a new life for and future for our family line where there is no Alzheimer's. So yeah, it's kind of a big jumble, but I loved how everything kind of came together and culminated in where I'm at now with OAKLEY Wellness.
Oh, that's so exciting. So, and it's super interesting that well, first of all, let me acknowledge, once you discover functional medicine, like you never go back. Right? I've never heard of someone saying, no, I'm not going,
No, that's not a thing.
right?
Yeah, no,
Like, no,
you are hooked.
you're hooked, full throttle ahead, right? So I love that part. And it's so interesting that you got your certification. Was it through the IFM?
It was through IFM. And I know they've been evolving their curriculum and certification process. So I don't know how much different it is now.
Okay.
But as far as I'm aware, they're still the global leaders in
Yeah, I
functional
think so.
medicine. So yeah,
Fabulous.
fabulous,
So
fabulous.
you did that in tandem with your pharmacy training.
Yeah, crazy. But yes, I
I mean,
did.
really, like, and I can't. So tell us. I mean, they're divergent paths, right?
They are. So the great thing about going through pharmacy school and functional medicine training, though, at the same time, is it's all very heavy in the biochemistry. And
Okay.
so I was still dealing with the same kind of science,
Hmm.
but just kind of culminating in different directions. So, and what I love about it is functional medicine is very inclusive. If we need to have a medicine on board for a while so that the person doesn't keel over,
Yeah.
yeah, let's do it. But let then from the more holistic perspective, let's be addressing what's going on, why we need the medicine, so that you can come off of it later. So it's kind of a cool marriage between both worlds.
Yeah. Yeah. You've got that traditional path and, maybe that less than traditional path. It's super
Absolutely.
cool that, yeah, where they come together. Awesome. So I just want to say hello to our audience, everyone joining. Welcome. And I'd love to, if you could just do a quick comment and just let me know where you're from and, what do you do with your brain health folks? Do you refer them out? Do you work with them? Just would love to get a better sense of how you, in your practice, how you are handling these particular patient types. So let's go ahead and dig in while we wait for some comments to roll in. Let's dig in to your OAKLEY method, shall we?
Yeah.
So I think you developed this methodology, right?
Mhm.
And what can you share? I mean, you did share, your inspiration behind it.
Mhm.
And that has to do with your own family history, which definitely is a incredibly strong motivator for many of us who want to change the trajectory of that family history. And the cool thing is that you can do that with, I mean, looking at your family history, we have genomic testing now where we
Mhm.
gain a lot of information. And it's, Alzheimer is no longer like a death sentence, shall we
Yeah,
say?
exactly right. It's not a death sentence anymore.
Because we really, really can be proactive and again change those outcomes. So tell us a little bit about it and how it addresses specifically, brain health and chronic fatigue.
Absolutely. And the reason why I address both brain health and chronic fatigue is they often go hand in hand. Um, I would say 9 times out of 10, my own clients are struggling with one aspect of both, one or the other of both.
Mhm.
So but really what it boils down to is the health of your cells. Your cells make up your body. Your cells create the functioning of all of the processes that have to happen for you to actually live. And so if your cells are not working, then your brain is not working. You are not producing energy. You're not transporting energy to the rest of your body, your brain. So that's really where or what it has boiled down to is targeting the cell, which
Mhm.
is great because it honestly goes about as far back as you can, like or upstream as you can.
Mhm.
So really what we're looking at is well, in getting to the bottom of the cellular health, we're really looking at, making sure that things that need to get in, things that need to get out can get out,
Mhm.
and that we have all the necessary parts, tools, pieces, any ingredients for all of those processes within the cell to happen properly.
Okay.
And, I mean, I'd be happy to go through what the Oakley method is.
Yeah.
I've got it posted on my website, so I'm happy to share that.
I love that. I think
Yeah,
our audience probably would too. So
sure.
that'd be
Um,
fabulous. Do we wanna do a screen share or
oh,
do
I mean, we can. Let's see,
whatever works?
I don't have that pulled up, but I
Okay, no worries.
can.
Whatever is easier.
Well, let me. That might take a minute to get
Okay,
up.
that's all right. Let's just walk
Um,
then.
okay,
So,
cool.
and just for our audience, we are gonna share, what is your website address so that
Yeah, it's
can
oakleywellness.com. Pretty simple, and I do have a whole page, like, on my, the bar, the menu
cool.
bar, that's the word
Okay,
I was looking
awesome.
for, has the Oakley Method link
I'll
there.
share that for everybody, and so anyone that wants to see it, you can head on over to oakley-wellness.com. Hopefully I spelled that right. Okay.
Oakley
And
like the glasses.
okay, wow, let's see. Okay. Yes?
Perfect,
All right.
perfect.
All right. So head on over to oakleywellness.com and, yeah, and where will they find this, description?
Yes, so as soon as you get on to Oakley Wellness, you right at the top, it says Home, About, and then Oakley Method, so
Great.
really right there.
Okay.
So and on there, I do have a graphic of just, the breakdown of the Oakley method.
Okay.
And what this is, it's really rooted, I mean, it's rooted in both my clinical training, personal clinical experience, kind of bringing all of those together to kind of summarize
Mhm.
everything that um, is the holistic approach to creating a healthy brain that works for you, not against you. So, the first step in that, though, is to optimize. There we go. Yes, optimize the gut. Because we are continuously finding more and more research to support that the gut is so, so important when it comes to how your brain functions. Not only does it make sure that you're absorbing the nutrients that you need to fuel all of your brain functions like memory consolidation and neurotransmitter production and signaling, and but then the it's like there are other things that are made by your microbiome during digestion, all of these different things that then send signals directly to your brain,
Mhm.
um, to alter basically how your brain is functioning, how you feel, how well you retain information. Um, different, I could go all day just on this one topic.
Well, definitely. I'm sure our audience can relate because, optimizing the gut is the core of every niche,
Yeah,
right?
really
It's
is.
part of what we all do nowadays,
Mhm.
really regardless of what patient type.
Yeah, you're
So,
so right. So
yeah.
right.
So yeah, it is like the core of everything.
Yeah,
Which
yeah,
is so
because
interesting because, yeah, never
it's
used
all tied together.
well, and it's funny because, looking back at my training, never used to be that way. So it's really an exciting area of research and just how science continues to evolve. Okay, so we've got optimizing the gut. So that is really, like, as you say here, at the heart of the Oakley method.
It really is. So I always start with optimizing the gut and honestly using food as medicine. So the first two, the O and the A, those are the things that I hit hardest with my clients from the get-go. Um, so with optimizing the gut, of course we want to create that really solid baseline of getting our brain building blocks, signaling for your mood, your memory, your focus, all
Mhm.
of that going. We want to keep the inflammation in check. We want to make sure that we're eliminating toxins well. All of the flow, everything good to go. Balancing the microbiome out, feeding the good bugs, all the things that go into a gut health strategy.
Right.
And I know you've had people or a lot of people talking about gut health and whatnot. So I'm not going to, beat that horse to death today. But then we use food as medicine and we activate brain food, which is what A.
Let's tell us about that.
Yes. So, and I love food, love cooking, love eating. So like this, this is one of my favorite parts. But really what we're finding is that a major part of the pathophysiology of Alzheimer's, and honestly, a lot of the times has to do with anxiety and depression. And we've even found it to be true with things like schizophrenia. But the metabolics of how your brain uses energy changes. And when that changes, it affects how your brain functions. And
Okay.
so, what happens is your brain basically becomes insulin resistant, and the rest of your body may be still very sensitive. So, you may not have like typical markers of insulin resistance or prediabetes or anything like that, but
Mhm.
your brain can't use the glucose that you're eating. And so, what activating brain food means is we are really targeting and changing the metabolics of how your brain uses fuel. And we, sorry, we do that with a mildly ketogenic diet. And
Mm.
so this is based on the keto flex principles from Dr. Dale Bredesen. Um, I think we had talked about him the last time I was on, but he has developed this recode and precode protocol, which I also got a certification in because obsessed with the brain. But they have actually been shown that using his principles, you can reverse Alzheimer's. They've had MoCA scores that actually went up, and like we've never seen that before. So this
Wow.
is super cool. But what they're doing is they're helping the brain switch from being metabolically stiff to being metabolically flexible. Try saying that 5 times fast. Um, so we're mildly ketogenic, but it's very, very plant forward.
Okay.
So it is still um, moderate protein, and depending on my clients' goals, like if they have more fitness goals, we'll up their protein a little bit. But clean, healthy proteins, lots and lots of vegetables, some lower glycemic fruits, and whatnot, very focused on the healthy fats and the probiotic foods, the prebiotic foods that are more lower on the glycemic index. And this is also how we're using food as medicine to heal and maintain a healthy microbiome, right? So bringing it all together. But what's really cool about the keto flex principles is you can measure your level of ketosis, and then you're encouraged. I do encourage my clients. Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't, depending upon the individual situation. But we try to track their markers of insulin sensitivity and how well they're handling their glucose, their fat, and that kind of stuff. And basically, we get to a point where if they want to continue doing keto flex, most of the time they can. But we do get to a point where we have restored metabolic flexibility, and they can start incorporating more of the starchy vegetables and that kind of thing again, and their body tolerates it so much differently than it used to, and they don't get that brain fog anymore.
Oh,
Super
that's
cool.
wild. Okay.
Super cool. Super cool.
So is there like an average, like how long does that take, that phase?
I would say most of the time it's about 3 to 6 months,
Okay.
depending upon the person, how, basically where they were at when we started.
Right.
So sometimes, like with some of my younger clients, I mean, 3 weeks, and they're like, "I feel like a new person." Like, "This is great."
Wow.
But
That's
and again, it just kind of depends on how long they've been in their situation, how I would say maybe severe
mhm.
their current situation is, and how much cellular damage we need to repair.
Okay. So, all right. So we're looking at like a target audience
Mhm.
that either A has a history, family history. I'm just going to put it out there. Maybe they're proactive and had their genetics done, and they discover, they've got an ApoE issue,
Right.
right? Like they're a
Mhm.
4 or maybe even a 4-4,
Mhm.
right? So that's another part of your group. And then you've got people, I'm guessing, that are just simply struggling with brain fog. Could
Yes.
be hormonal, could be a lot of different, underlying issues. And then you've got the chronic fatigue crowd, right?
Yes.
So, did I miss any of your subgroups?
I'm starting to see more and more anxiety and depression
Oh,
as
okay.
well.
Oh,
So,
interesting.
and
So
it's working very well. So that's very exciting.
oh, okay, super cool. Okay, so we heal the gut. We
Mhm.
talked about that. We move them into food as medicine, activating brain food, right?
Yes.
And we use a mildly ketogenic diet approach. And you're actually measuring ketones in the urine, I take it?
It's actually in the blood.
Oh, in
Um,
the blood. Okay,
so
you're
yeah,
measuring.
my favorite ketone, well, it's actually a dual glucose ketone meter. It's made by Keto Mojo. And yeah, we check the blood um, levels of ketones, of beta hydroxybutyrate.
Okay. So I'm guessing you're probably getting people like pre-diabetics too, right? Is that
Pre-diabetics, yeah. So whether they want to admit it or not.
okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of gray area there.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely a lot. Almost every single one of my clients ends up being at least a little bit insulin resistant. So
Okay.
maybe their insulin levels are creeping up,
Got it.
or maybe their insulin levels are fine, but their glucose is creeping up, which means that they're far enough along on the insulin resistance scale or timeline, where now their body's not putting out as much insulin. So that means that their glucose is creeping up. So
Okay. All
I
right.
catch a lot of people in that zone.
Okay. All right. Just wanted to try to wrap my mind around like just those specific subgroups that are appropriate. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome. So, so you said you're monitoring, it's called Keto Mojo, I think you said,
Keto
right?
Mojo is the
Okay.
brand, and some of my clients choose different meters. You don't have to use them. I just like that it's a dual glucose ketone meter, so
Yeah.
we can be checking both.
Is it a finger stick?
It is a finger stick.
Okay.
So right now, I don't know of any like continuous ketone meters.
Great, wouldn't it?
I know, right? That'd be amazing.
The dual.
But and some of my clients do prefer to have a continuous glucose meter or monitor, yeah, and do the ketones as well. So
Okay.
it
Oh,
just
that's
depends on how nerdy they get with me.
okay. So it's not hardcore. Like, what is
No.
the difference, I guess, between mild and hardcore?
Yeah. So honestly, more hardcore. Well, it means that your beta hydroxybutyrate level would get really high.
Okay.
And so in the mild ketosis, we're looking at getting to 0.5 or 1 to 4.
Okay.
And that would be your more mildly verging on more intense ketosis. And it depends on the person where they feel really good. Some people feel better at a beta hydroxybutyrate level of 3 versus 1. It just kind of depends on the person. But I would say more of a hardcore ketosis is getting up towards the 3, 4, and beyond.
Okay.
And we've just found, in all of Dr. Bredesen's studies and whatnot, it's not necessary to get that level of
Yeah.
ketosis to get results, which is fantastic
Oh,
because
that's
it's
good
a
news.
lot easier to do.
Yeah. Okay. And I just want to ask one other thing. What if someone is kind of averse to the finger sticks for whatever reason? Can we do a CGM and just test urine for the
Oh,
ketone?
yeah. You can
Okay.
do urine. So based on the data that we have, the blood gives the most accurate levels, but you can absolutely do urine and still do really well.
Okay.
And honestly, I do have people who are like, okay, I need to prioritize financially. And so we forego testing altogether and
Mhm.
we just monitor their symptoms very closely.
Gotcha. Okay. That makes sense. All right. So, any questions, to our audience or anything else that you would like to mention in terms of the second step, the activating brain food?
Let's see. I want to say it again, it's very, very heavy on vegetables. It is
Okay.
not your typical keto diet. And it does include intermittent fasting. So whether,
Awesome.
at a minimum of 12 hours,
Okay.
which honestly is not that hard to do because you sleep through most of that.
Yeah.
So it's great. And I will say
Yeah,
for
daily?
the
So daily?
yeah, yeah.
Okay, so, 12 hours of fasting every day.
Mhm. Ideally starting 2 to 3 hours before bedtime. And then this is where, especially for the ApoE44 patients and clients that we have, uh,
Mhm.
that is where we found that they respond better to a longer fasting window. So for them, I would encourage to work up to a 14 to 16-hour fasting window and eating during the rest of that time.
Okay, alright, that's a great tip.
Mhm,
Alright. So, okay, and then we've got movement.
mhm. So, this is a big part in reestablishing that metabolic flexibility,
Mhm.
as well as increasing brain growth factors. So, things like brain derived nerve growth. no, brain-derived BDNF. I can't even turn, like my brain and my tongue right now are not communicating very well. Anyway, kind of funny since this is my jam. Well, and that's the part that I really enjoy is because I do get to experiment on myself since I am the client, you know what I
Yes.
mean? So like I
Are
get
your
to say,
client.
okay,
You are your target audience, right?
yes, yes, absolutely.
Oh,
I
that
am
comes
my target audience. So yeah, for kindling movement, this is not only, well, it's largely physical, right? We're looking at strength training, we're looking at aerobic exercise, we're looking at mind body yoga, tai chi kind of thing. Ideally,
yeah.
we would have eventually all three. And so that's what I start working with my clients. And sometimes they're already in the gym like 3 to 4 days a week. And I'm like, okay, how can we take this the next step to optimize our brain functioning? And so, yeah, we've found that a mixture of all three does very, very well. You don't have to do heavy loads of any one thing to get those benefits. But part of this, and this is like one of my favorite little quirks about the Oakley method, but um, we want to stimulate the brain as well. So we're exercising the brain as well as your body. And
Mhm.
so one of my favorite ways to do this is to actually stimulate your brain while you are exercising.
Oh,
So I do encourage my clients to, find a podcast they like or listen to an audiobook or something. Even listening to music will stimulate the brain center, the different centers of the brain differently. But by doing those things while you are physically working your body out, it kind of has this synergistic um, effect, and that's really cool to see on the brain. So I like to pair those, but even just training the brain in general, there are tons of apps, but like
mhm.
go to a puzzle, go, listen to a podcast, take a dance class. like you know
Yeah.
there's so many different things that you can do to stimulate the brain. So just finding some things that really resonate with the person helps there. And then we try and help them get more active hobbies such as like gardening or um, y- you know hunting. Well, some of those are more less physically active than others, but anyway, I do live in Tennessee, so hunting is a big thing here.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
In Wisconsin.
yes, oh yes, it is. So, but yeah, so kind of just incorporating movement throughout their daily lives,
Sure.
but also being really targeted about the strength training and the aerobic cardio and that kind of thing.
Okay. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I would imagine getting your heart rate up
Yes.
is gonna
Yeah.
be
Mhm.
important too. But mixing it up, I mean, I feel like that's the big takeaway here in terms of movement.
Mhm.
And just see so many people that just do one thing. I used to kind of be that person.
Mhm.
I used to be that person because I really like strength, right?
Me too.
Like that's my jam. I'm just saying personally, I kind of struggled. Like I can go walk forever. I can, easily, the 10,000 steps a day, no problem. But it doesn't really get my heart rate up, just saying.
Yeah, and that's
I need
okay.
to work on that.
The strength training gets your heart rate up though, right?
Kind of.
Kind of.
Kind of. Well, I ended up getting a Peloton, and let me tell you,
Nice.
that's taken care of the heart rate thing. That
Love it.
definitely gets yeah. So yeah, so that was a good solution for me. I could just go down, downstairs and 30 minutes and I'm drenched, right? If
Right,
you
absolutely.
so that was a good solution for me because I just felt like, man, I'm just not it's the background in exercise physiology, right? Like
Yeah.
I get that in that target heart rate. Okay, so let's talk about the next. Let's see, we've got stress. Oh, and let's talk about the toxins.
Yes. So, and stress actually is a toxin. So that's part of the reason why I paired those. But oh yeah. So toxins in general just they destroy your cells, to
Mhm.
be very blunt.
Yep.
They destroy, receptors, they interfere with membranes, they interfere with they gunk up all of the processes that try to make things run smoothly.
Mhm.
And then because they've gunked everything up, then you can't eliminate them properly. And then it's like a feed forward cycle. And so many of these toxins can be directly damaging to the brain. Some of them are more indirect, like they're damaging to the gut, create leaky gut, which then sends inflammation to the brain, creates neuroinflammation. Um, and honestly, when that happens, you also allow, everything gets leaky in a state of inflammation because it's trying to, get the white blood cells and macrophages and everything to the site or sites of potential threat. So then these toxins can go basically wherever they want to, and your body, knowing that they're in the blood, is like, oh my gosh, they're in the blood. We have to hide
Mhm.
them. And so they hide them or your body hides them in fatty tissues,
Mm.
which one of those tissues is your brain.
Right.
So we actually can have a lot of toxins actually in your brain. And this is another reason why our clients who lose a lot of weight quickly tend to feel bad
Mm.
because they're releasing all of those toxins and they're not
Right.
supporting their systems to be able to handle that properly.
Okay.
But for this part of the Oakley method, we are doing this gradually. And so part of what I do in my program is we actually test for toxins levels. So we're looking at mold toxins, heavy metals, and environmental toxins.
Okay.
And I was going to mention that later, but I'll squeak it in here now. One of my top marketing strategies right now has been I've actually partnered with a mold restoration company.
Oh.
And so our thing that we're basically starting together is they fix your home and I fix your body. And it's been so cool to get to work together and create this healthy environment and body for
Mhm.
these patients and clients. It's been super cool. Anyway, back
So,
here.
people struggling with mold toxicity, that's
Yeah,
another one of your target audiences.
yes, yep,
Okay.
that's a good
That
point.
makes a ton of sense. I know I've shared very openly that I have a very long, arduous history of
Mhm.
mold toxicity. Yeah, and it was terrible, and we're talking years and years and years
Yes.
without knowing, like, house to house. Oh my god, yeah, what a mess. So,
It
and the brain definitely is impacted. I know for me, like, I would try to explain it. I'd go to doctors and say, "Look, sometimes I just like I know the word is there, I just can't I can't find it."
Mhm.
And yeah, so that's a whole story in of itself.
But that's
But it
so
is a symptom.
similar.
It is a symptom for sure.
Yeah, yeah, and
And once
that's
I
why.
got out of mold, like,
Sorry,
totally
what?
way, completely. So I am lucky in that way, like, I didn't have to go through, a whole bunch of, processes to rid myself of those symptoms.
Yeah,
For me,
yeah,
it was just get the hell out of mold,
yes,
right?
yeah.
And, do it quickly, as quickly as I could. But yeah, so that's a great target audience, and I've worked with lots of remediators over the years, and they have a really amazing expertise. And I
They
can see how
do.
that partnership could be really a two-way beneficial
Mhm.
situation for you.
Absolutely. It's been an awesome venture so far.
Yeah, good. Yay. All right. So, and I love how you're testing for all these things
Mhm.
because, a
Absolutely.
lot of times you don't know, right?
You really don't. You don't. And the thing is like we get, especially when you're living in it, you just kind of get used to how you
You
feel,
do. And I can
and
attest
you
to that.
don't know that you don't feel good.
Yeah, you don't know until you're out. Yeah, I mean, I know like for me, I knew, but you just have to push through it because, at least back then I wasn't getting solutions or answers.
Right.
And, mold, the manifestation of mold toxicity, it's different with everybody. And the symptoms are so kind of bizarre, right? It
Yes.
does impact every body system. But anyway, I can see, I mean, I did it, right? I just pushed through and pushed through.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm just going to be better and, stronger and I'm going to get through, So anyway, I can really appreciate that. All right. So next up, we've got sleep and then we have supplement support. So,
Yes. So yeah, real quick
mm,
for sleep, I mean, I can't say really stress the importance of sleep for your brain enough.
mhm.
And honestly, to be completely transparent, this is the part of the Oakley method that I personally struggle with the most.
Okay.
So, and it's not necessarily like sleep quality. It's for me because I'm so type A. I'm like, I have to get everything done. And then like it's allowing myself the time for the sleep.
Oh, interesting.
Um, but so yeah, I mean, sleep is when our brains clean themselves.
Mhm.
It's when we have memory consolidation. So just as a foundation, if we aren't getting enough sleep or you're not sleeping well,
Mhm.
then that's not happening. And so it would make sense that you would start to have a brain foggy kind of feeling, that you would start to
Absolutely.
have memory issues, fatigue issues if you're running with gunked up systems the next day, you know? So lots and lots of focus on creating a healthy and sleep inducing environment and winding down properly before bed. Um, all the things between blocking blue light to maybe doing, an hour of technology free time before bed. There's lots of different ways that each individual can create that for themselves. So I just take it as on a one-on-one basis, and we just experiment to see what works well for that person.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. My guess is that you occasionally run into sleep disorders as well, which
Sure
is
do.
on the sleep quality. So that would be a whole interesting area as well.
Yes, and for those, if they do not already come to me on a CPAP or something like that,
Mhm.
um, and our conversations and their intake forms indicate that that might be an issue, I do suggest that they go in for a sleep study
Mhm.
because, as much as I understand not wanting to go on a CPAP,
Mhm.
like every person who actually then makes the leap of faith and gets on
Yeah,
one, they're like,
they
"I don't
feel
know how
better.
I was sleeping."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, some of those, yeah, sleep disorders are just downright dangerous. And there are mouth guards. I know in Evanston, Illinois, I know of a dentist that kind of specializes in that,
Yeah.
where, the mouth guard is designed to keep your airway open. So
Mhm.
I understand that that doesn't work for everybody, but it could be an option. Tell us about the supplements.
Sure. So this basically what we're doing with this is it's supplementing the rest of the Oakley method, right? And what we're doing is we're trying to enhance and accelerate the cellular healing process.
Okay.
So I will say I don't normally start with the brain specific supplements.
Okay.
Towards the end of, so my program's around 3 months usually, and so towards the end of that program, as we're going through the Oakley method, that's when I'll start to say, okay, I think, you're ready to come off of this. Let's try this specific brain supplement based on your goals and where you're at now. But what I do first is I focus on the health of the cell. And so that's the things like probiotics, a fish oil, because we have to have those healthy fats to feed our cell membranes, to keep them fluid, magnesium, because what part of your body doesn't need magnesium? And even MCT oil. So MCT oil can be very helpful in getting into that mild ketosis. And it's another, one of those healthy sources of fats that help with your cell membranes and being able to send signals properly, absorbing nutrients properly. So that's what I focus on first.
Okay.
And then we'll bring things on later that can honestly take their brain cell function just to a whole new level. And so those are things like lion's mane mushroom that helps increase nerve growth factor, gotu kola, I think that's how you say that. I just go with it. And and that one helps with specifically memory and focus. Bacopa helps with memory and recall and different things like that. So it kind of just depends on their goals and what they were originally struggling with.
Okay. I love that. Definitely sounds like fish oil is part of the program because most
Yeah,
people don't get enough of those omega-3s, I'm guessing.
you're
So,
right.
okay. I love that. Okay. So any other tidbits and tips that you want to share before we start to wrap up our conversation? You've shared so much already. How about results?
Yeah.
Share
So
a little bit of like some of those, amazing transformations that you're seeing.
absolutely. So, one of my younger clients who came to me, I will put this tidbit in there. If you're seeing younger clients who are like in their 30s, 40s, even 50s,
Mhm.
um, who are having some of these symptoms, one of the first things I think is toxins.
Mm,
So we're seeing that be a major player in some early um, brain fog, dementia, Alzheimer's kind of onset. Is a lot of it is those toxins. So
mm.
anyway, so one of my younger patients, the toxins were an issue for her, but she came to me and her symptom score was 182 out of like
Ooh,
250. Yeah.
yes.
Um, 2 months later, this was absolutely incredible. Her symptom score was 11.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's miraculous.
And then at 7 months, she was down to 3. That was
Wow,
her last
that's
symptom score.
amazing.
Yeah.
I mean,
And
her quality of life,
yeah,
she got.
oh gosh, yeah. She told me that she out energied her 12-year-old.
Oh, that's so awesome.
How amazing is that?
So, yeah,
So,
like, that had to feel really good for you.
yeah, oh my gosh.
I know this is why you do it,
Yeah, it is, it
is
is. Like,
inspiration.
she was able to get her life back. Like, she had told me that, she felt, whether it was or wasn't, she felt like her job and her marriage were on the line. And she was like, this completely just turned everything around. Like, we are so much closer as a family. Like, I mean, the cool thing about it is it didn't just affect her, it affected their whole family. And I'm really proud of her family too, because they were so supportive of her doing all of that. They ate the same food she did. Like they went through a transformation as well. So
Oh,
that
I'm
was
sure
cool.
they feel amazing too.
That was cool. And then one of my more recent transformations that I have to brag about, she has done so good. But her original symptom score was 58, which isn't that bad.
Okay.
But after a month, she was down to 25. And after 5 months, she's down to 14. So, they're just rocking and rolling. And I'm so proud of them. So proud of them.
It's amazing. You're doing great work. We got
Thank
a quick
you.
question.
Yeah.
Let's see. Someone joined, and this is a comment on Instagram. Schedule disrupted by Hurricane Milton. Where can we catch
Mhm.
recording? Yeah, guys, my thoughts are really, really with you. So many just very scary storms. So our thoughts are with you on that. And just so you guys know, this recording will be available on my Facebook business page, right? So that's, I think it's under Lesli Bitel International, and ditto for YouTube. And I believe it will remain on LinkedIn as well. So you've got a few different options there. But if anyone is having a hard time finding the recording, never hesitate to reach out to me directly and I'll point you in the right direction. All right. And real quick, before we wrap up, I do want to just remind everybody that we are filling the 2024-2025 cohort for the Six Figure Biz Academy. And this is my signature group program. It's, it's that business training that you didn't get in school, right? I don't know about you, but in my training, I learned how to be a wonderful clinician, but I did not learn how to run my private practice. So that's what the Six Figure Biz Academy is all about. And so I just wanted to invite you, if you're at all curious, to set up a call, right? So I'm going to share. Let's see if I can do this real quick, just so you can see. Aha, here we go. Okay, so I'll just share my screen real quick. You can go to the sixfigurebizacademy.com. You can learn more about this business training program. And if you scroll, there's a lot of like case studies and testimonials. But essentially, all you have to do is click this button, click here to apply now, and you just fill out a short form and fill out a time or identify a time for us to chat. Because what I want to do is just, have a little conversation with you to ensure that, this is your next step in your entrepreneurial trajectory and that this is indeed a good fit for both parties. So we'll just have a quick chat where I can learn more about you and your goals, so that I'm in a much better position to, say, yep, I think this is a good fit, or otherwise. So check it out, sixfigurebizacademy.com. Do yourself a favor. Like, I'll just say, if you've been kind of struggling along, trying to piecemeal everything to get your practice up and running, or maybe you've been at it for a while. This is very common. And maybe you're starting to feel like that sense of burnout and you really want to move into more of a leverage type of foundation. Both of those scenarios are very common and definitely would be a good fit for the Academy. All right. So really want to invite you, just explore it and set up a chat with me. We can see if it's a good fit. All right. So I'm going to
pop in real quick.
You can.
I want to say I am a graduate of the Six Figure Biz Academy and highly, highly recommend it. I don't know of any other academy type program that's more comprehensive than Leslie's. Like, she seriously knows her stuff. So if you're kind of on the fence about it, just book the call. Just do it. Leap of faith. Okay.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I didn't pay her.
No.
We didn't even talk about it, but I do appreciate it. And the interesting thing is that it fits the bill for a huge variety of practitioners, right?
Mhm.
So, we have a pharmacist, right? Moving into functional medicine, perfect fit. We have naturopathic doctors. We have nurse practitioners, right? Moving into coaching, which is super interesting. So, and of course, dietitians, nutritionists. So it really does, the concepts and strategies that I teach really are appropriate for, gosh, I would just say almost any professional designation in private practice, right? So that is the caveat, in private practice. So yeah, let's have a chat. And thanks for that. Lexi did great. She did the work, right? So I got to hand the credit to Lexi for her success. She did the work. She rolled up her sleeves, and here we are, right? So,
Got a great coach.
and now, thank you. And now, the cool thing is, do you want to share a little bit about what you're going to be doing with the OAKLEY method?
Yeah, so my next step, I'm actually going to be building the OAKLEY method as a course. So I'm really, really excited to do that. So basically, I'm trying to leverage and expand my impact by being able to have people who aren't necessarily ready to dive into the super detailed one-on-one work or even in a group format.
Mhm.
And so, but still want to have that transformation, need the information. And so this course will take them through the OAKLEY method and give them really all the tools that they need and the guidance that they need to get those transformations for themselves. And what's really cool, something I learned from Leslie, is you can take this material and basically have it multi-purpose. So I can take this material that I'm creating and then bring it into a group format and say, okay, I'm going to run a group course and take them through the same course, but with group coaching. Or I could do a hybrid where it's, there's a lot of things you can do with it.
Well,
But
basically, you're building out the profit pyramid.
yeah,
Yeah,
basically with one course.
with one course, which is amazing. Yeah, I love it. Yeah, and I do really love how you got your traction with that high level. Those of you that are familiar with my profit pyramid, that level A, right? Like that, the one-on-one, kind of like that higher end program. And
Mhm.
it is really exciting because you can take that format, right? That
Yeah.
it is proven, you've done it over and over, you know it works. So you've got that confidence behind it. And you take that format and you move it into, actually, you can move it into several different levels in that profit pyramid.
Mhm.
Like a hybrid, which might include, maybe some one-on-one, you know,
Mhm.
like if, like in a 3-month kind of a program, maybe you've got 2 or maybe monthly one-on-ones, possibly. You don't have to, maybe you just have 1, right? It
Right.
really kinda depends on what you wanna do. And then maybe some group work and maybe even some pre-recorded modules that people listen to.
Yeah.
There's just a huge variety of ways, but the hybrid, I gotta say, I do like it for the kind of work that you're doing, Lexi, because you're doing lab tests.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So that's a question I get all the time. I love the idea of, doing some kind of a group, right, where I can leverage my time and ultimately reach more people more effectively. But what do I do? How do I personalize it if I'm running some functional tests? So I really think that anyway, that hybrid option is a great option for those of you in that camp. So anyway, I'd love to chat with you guys. go to sixfigurebizacademy.com. Just fill out that short form, pick a spot, we can chat. I have spots on Friday, and I think I might even have some on Sunday because we are wrapping up the early bird pricing on Sunday evening. All right, guys. Anything else you want to add, Lexi, about the brain health topic? Any final words of wisdom that you want to share?
Start in the gut.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, I just thought of this. I totally should have thought of this beforehand. But I do have a freebie. It's on my website. Like if you sign up for, like go to the homepage, scroll all the way to the bottom. I have a like a cheat sheet where I give my top 3 tips to banish the brain fog. So that's a very helpful resource. If you guys want to grab that, you can. You'll also be able to hop on my email list, and yeah, I'd love to see you there. But love to share that resource with you guys.
Yeah, go to OAKLEYWellness.com and grab that tip sheet. And yeah, I'm sure that will be super helpful. All right, guys, I'm going to let you get back to work or whatever you're doing today. Again, our thoughts are with those of you impacted by the storms and the hurricane. So take good care. And gosh, that's all I can say is our thoughts are with you. All right. So, all right, guys, we're going to wrap for today. Have a great rest of your day, and we'll look forward to seeing you next time. All right. Talk to you soon. Bye.